Good morning, Cornerstone. Thanks for joining this morning. My name is Andrew. I'm our young adults pastor, and we're so stoked. We have an awesome service for you planned this morning. But first things first, I just want to thank everyone that came out yesterday and helped clean up the church. We were able to get so much stuff done. This place looks great, and we are getting it prepped for when we're able to meet back here again. So thanks for being a part of that. Also, we have a few announcements for us. We are supporting Horizon Pregnancy Clinic, which is a Christian organization that helps expecting mothers, or all the like with just different medications, help of all different sorts. We're going to be doing fundraising for them through Father's Day. So make sure to check that out on our giving page because that's a really cool organization that we're helping out and fundraising for. Also, we have Cornerstone Connect groups. If you haven't been a part of a Connect group yet, I strongly urge you to jump to be a part of one. They're super fun. We do a little Bible study, get to hang out, you get to meet some friends, new friends, hang out with friends you already know, but it's a great way to stay connected through all of this craziness that we got going on. Lastly, we're putting out most of our information and updates through our social media, so mainly Facebook and Instagram. So be sure to give them a follow in order to stay connected and up to date on what's going on here at Cornerstone. As of right now, we're going to jump into worship. So let's prepare our hearts for what God wants to do this morning.
Good morning, Cornerstone. I'm going to read Psalm 96. It's a whole 13 verses, so hang in there with me, but let this be an encouragement to you this morning. Sing a new song to the Lord. Let the whole earth sing to the Lord. Sing to the Lord, praise his name. Each day proclaim the good news that he saves. Publish his glorious deeds among the nations. Tell everyone about the amazing things he does. Great is the Lord. He is most worthy of praise. He is to be feared above all gods. The gods of other nations are mere idols, but the Lord made the heavens. Honor and majesty surround him. Strength and beauty fill his sanctuary. O nations of the world, recognize the Lord. Recognize that the Lord is glorious and strong. Give to the Lord the glory he deserves. Bring your offering and come into his courts. Worship the Lord in all his holy splendor. Let all the earth tremble before him. Tell all the nations, the Lord reigns. The world stands firm and cannot be shaken. He will judge all peoples fairly. Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice. Let the sea and everything in it shout his praise. Let the fields and their crops burst out with joy. Let the trees of the forest sing for joy before the Lord, for he is coming. He is coming to judge the earth. He will judge the world with justice and the nations with his truth. He is good. He is almighty. And we can praise him together this morning. Let's worship the Lord our God. Amen.
Skies are wide, crashing down to bring the world to life. Hope came dancing on an empty grave. Death has lost its rule to the King of grace. Be the crown in the light and sound. Be the fire burning inside out. Be the love casting out all fear. Let your name roll the atmosphere. Come on, let's sing it out. Love like the skies are crashing down to bring the world to life. Oh, came dancing on an empty grave. Death has lost its rule to the King of grace. Sing, be the crown, be the crown in the light and sound. Be the fire burning inside out. Jesus. Come on. Sin and all its shame deleted. Death and all its chains defeated. Let's sing in the light. In the light we see is Jesus. In the air we breathe is freedom. And the sound that knows no fear. Your love rules the atmosphere.
How great the chasm that lay between us, how high the mountain I could not climb. In desperation, I turned to heaven and spoke your name into the night. Then through the darkness, your loving kindness tore through the shadows of my soul. The work is finished, the end is written. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Who could imagine so great a mercy? What heart could fathom such boundless grace? The God of ages stepped down from glory to wear my sin and bear my shame. The cross has spoken, I am forgiven. The King of Kings calls me his own. Beautiful Savior, I'm yours forever. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah, death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Then came the morning that sealed the promise. Your buried body began to breathe. Out of the silence, the roaring lion Sing that out again. Then came the morning that sealed the promise. Your very body began to breathe out of the silence. The roaring lion declared the grave has no claim on me. Jesus, yours is the victory. Hallelujah. Praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah. Death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah. Praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah. Death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Oh God, you are my living hope. Oh, you are. Oh, my hope is in you.
Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise his name forevermore. For in this days we will sing your praise. Oh Lord our God. Let's sing that again. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise his name forevermore. For in these days we will sing your praise. Oh Lord our God. Sing, oh, praise the name. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise his name forevermore. For in these days we will sing your praise. Oh Lord our God. Sing, oh, praise the name. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise his name forevermore. For in these days we will sing your praise. Oh Lord our God. Oh Lord our God. Oh Lord
Man, worship has been so great. Also, I gotta give a huge shout out to Solomon and Need It and their creative team. Week after week, they have put so many hours in creating this cool set behind us, and they've just made virtual church look super rad. So shout out to them. But right now, we're gonna transition into our giving portion. We have a few different ways to give, as a slide should pop up on your screen. Text to give, you can mail in your check, you can come drop it off. But can I just say thank you again for just being the church, Cornerstone. You guys have donated so many goods for the food pantry. You guys have donated your time and just been really, really generous with just your giving during these crazy times. So I just like to personally say thank you so much, because you guys have been awesome and actually have been the church. So huge thumbs up on that. But right now, Gary's going to come up and he's going to deliver his message. So be sure to check your hearts and be ready for what he's got.
So it's good to be back with you guys again for another week. And as Andrew said, there's lots of things happening, lots of things coming up. But I want to remind you guys about next Sunday. Next Sunday, we will be doing a second offering. And again, with that offering, we are looking to launch what for us is going to be another campus, a third service. We are going to continue this online services that we've been doing. So even when we are back together meeting, we want to go to the next level when it comes to online and reaching people through our computer and through those areas of ministry. And we're going to work really hard to make that happen. And so everything that we give into this offering is going to go towards helping us purchase the cameras we need, the equipment we need to really make that one of the best services we can do. And so encourage you guys to pray about it, think about it, and see what God puts on your heart to be able to donate towards us doing everything we need to do to create that other online campus. And so we're excited about it. I'm very excited about it, and the people that we're going to reach through that and continue to reach through that service. And so again, that's happening next Sunday. But today we launch a brand new series, and looking forward to this one. This one's called This or That, and it's the idea of simply the last, what has it been, 10 weeks that we've been going through this. What are we going to take away from this? Now, I have said this to our team. I've said this in some other conversations. I don't want to live in this. As far as I'm concerned, this is not the new norm. I will not use that to describe what we're living in. It's not. I believe we are going to go back to life as normal and be able to do things the way we've always done them. I refuse to live in that. I'm not going to live in that. And I'm excited to reopen our doors. We spent the day yesterday cleaning and preparing this place. And so I do believe there's life after all this. But not to say God has not worked through this and done some amazing things through this. And I really believe that for all of us, God has done some things in our lives individually. I know for me, through these last 10, 11 weeks that we've been doing this, God has really impacted some parts of my life. And there's things that I've experienced during this time of lockdown that I want to continue after life goes back to normal. That I don't, it'd be very easy just as things open up and things happen just to go back to normal life. I don't want to do that. There's more that I want to do. There's things that I've experienced during this time and I've experienced in my relationship with God during this time that I want to continue. And so that's what we're going to be talking about the next few weeks, this or that. And just to kind of give you guys some examples of things I'm keeping and things I'm letting go of. I've been running during this time. That's pretty crazy for me. I'm not a runner. It's not something I would say I really enjoy doing. But Amy and I kind of said we want to kind of just do some things different while we're here, while we have the time. And so we've been running and doing some exercising in the mornings. And so is it this or that? Am I going to keep doing it or not doing it? For me, my plan is to keep running and keep doing those things. Other this or that's for me. During this time, Amy and I eat out a lot. I mean, just with our schedules, being at the church and with other things that we're involved in, we're busy. And so we're not home a lot for dinner. And so there's a lot of times we'll just grab some food and to go and kind of live our lives like that. Well, we've been cooking a lot during this season, and it's been awesome to spend that time together, but also to just kind of eat better, plan better. And so, coming out of this, I can go right back into that lifestyle of eating fast food all the time, eating out all the time, but I'm making the decision. I want to keep cooking and keep trying new things and doing it differently. Other things that I've experienced during this time, I've slowed down. I have been busy still. We've been doing things here and we've been doing things in the youth ministry as well. But my life has slowed down. There's more nights that I'm just home. There's more days that I'm just home. Mornings, I'm not as quick out the door as I would normally be. And it's been awesome. And I've really learned the importance of slowing down, the importance of not being so busy, the importance of not saying yes to everything. So another this or that for me is that I'm going to continue to live my life a little bit slower, not such at a fast pace. I'm going to learn not to say yes to everything, that there's times that I just need to be home. There's times that I just need to be home with the family watching a movie or hanging out. All of these things have been important. So what's your this or that? What is your thing that God has done in your life during this time that you want to continue? Maybe it is getting healthier. Maybe for a lot of you, this has been a time of spiritual discipline. I know next week our teaching pastor, Pastor Carl, is going to talk about that, how we keep our spiritual disciplines that we've all been doing really well at during this time. Continue those things, keeping those things going. Because I know for so many of you guys, you've said, man, I've been in the Word, I've been doing daily devotionals, I've had all this time to do all these things. Well, what happens when life gets busy again? What happens when you have to go back to work or any of those things? Are you going to set aside the things that God has done in your life the last 10 weeks? Are you going to say, no, this is going with me. This is going to continue in my life. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep reading the Word. I'm going to keep doing my daily devotionals. I'm going to keep spending time with my family. I'm going to keep hanging out with my community. These are all the things that we're going to talk about in the next few weeks. And so what that looks like. Well, today I want to launch this series, This or That, with talking about family. And to do this, I'm really going to use my own family as an example and how our family has changed in the last 10, 11 weeks during this time. If you guys have your Bibles, I want you to turn to Exodus 16. And Exodus 16 is all about the Israelites when they escaped from Egypt and all that was happening. And it's crazy because they had spent this whole time just wanting to be free of Egypt, wanting to be free of Pharaoh, wanting to go back to their homeland. And they've been wanting it and desiring it and preparing for it. Well, God finally opens the door. God finally opens the door for them to do that and to leave Egypt. And not a month and a half in it, they're complaining. So if you have your Bibles, turn to Exodus 16, verses 2 and 3. It says this: In the desert, the whole community grumbled against Moses and Aaron. The Israelites said to them, if only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. There we sat around pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted, but you have brought us out into the desert to starve this entire assembly to death. Here they are. They finally get what they want. They're out of Egypt. And what are they doing? Not a month and a half into it, they're looking back going, no, I want that again. Or it's easier just to go back to my old life. My old life, it was just, I knew it. It was more comfortable. It was easier. I did what I wanted to do. I'd rather just go back to my old life, even though it was imprisonment, even though we weren't where God wanted us. All of these things, they were getting so uncomfortable that they wanted that. Well, I think about that, and I think that's kind of where we're at, because again, God has done some great things in our lives. I know people who have found a relationship with God during these 11 weeks. They have asked Christ into their life. And whatever it is, whether it is with your family, whether it is with your spiritual disciplines, whether it is just with your relationship with God that has grown during this time, are you going to continue it afterwards? We see it in this moment, the Israelites get what they want, and all of a sudden it just gets too hard. It's not comfortable anymore, and they desire to go back to their other lives, even though it's not a great place. I don't want to see any of us do that. And the things that God has done in our lives in these weeks, I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to go back to what I was doing before. I don't want to go back to eating unhealthy and all of these things. But today, in particular, we're talking about family. I've had some great moments with my family during this time. It's been a long time. My kids are a little bit older. My kids that live at home right now are 20 and 15, and so they kind of have their own lives and doing their own thing. And it's easy for us before all of this to not even really see each other a whole lot. We'll see each other in the morning sometimes, depending on when they wake up, and sometimes for dinner if they all stay for dinner. But during this season, we've spent a ton of time together, and it's been fantastic. I've loved it. It's been awesome. Me and Amy, our relationship, we've been married almost 22 years. I hope I got that right. Almost 22 years. And our relationship in these past 11 weeks has gotten deeper than it was when it started. We've got to spend more time together. We just wake up in the morning and we're going for walks together. We're going running together. It's been awesome. We're having some deep conversations that before we wouldn't have made the time to have, and we're really just getting into some deep stuff, and not just trying to our relationship, but about God, about church, about friends, about family. It's just meaningful conversations. We're being more affectionate with each other. Like, I always thought that we were pretty affectionate couple, but I think just spending all this time together has brought us even closer together. It says this in Ephesians 5:25, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. I love my wife. And what's happened during this time of lockdown is I've just fallen even more in love with her. And part of it is because of the time that we've got to spend together and again, the walks and all of those things. Now we're coming out of this. Now we're starting to move away from this, and we're going to get busier and things are going to happen. I want to make sure this is one of those things that God has done in my life, in my relationship with my wife, that continues after this, that we still really work hard to spend time together, that our marriage is God not only the center of it, but that we are building into our marriage. 22 years, we're still learning how to do this. We're still building our marriage. And I want to continue to do that in the way that we've been doing it the last couple months. And so one of those things for sure when it comes to this or that I'm going to be taking out of this is my relationship with my wife. I want to be better at it. I want to continue to grow in it. I'm excited for that. Other things when it comes to family that I've seen God do in our lives is our kids. We have 3 kids and the most incredible daughter-in-law, and some of you have heard that Amy and I are going to be grandparents. Oh my gosh, that's so weird. The even thought of me being a grandpa, don't even know what to do with that. People keep asking me, so what do you want to be called? Grandpa, pops. I was thinking like uncle for the first few years, maybe. Just kidding. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But my kids, I've had a great relationship with our kids during this time. We spent a lot of times, and I know there's some of you out there that have been now doing mom and dad and also teacher and all of these things to your kids. And some of you are like, I'm ready to pull my hair out. I've spent too much time with my kids. But I hope that all of you have had time to really grow with your kids, especially you dads. I've seen dads around the neighborhood and different things who would normally be at work from 8 to 5. All of a sudden, they're outside playing with their kids. They're outside throwing the ball around. They're outside going for bike rides. They're outside going for walks. It would be so easy when your job opens up again and you get busy again to just go right back to the way you were before this started, right back to kind of just seeing your kids in the morning at breakfast and at night at dinner. What if we make these decisions? We're going to work hard to not go backwards, but to keep moving forward. We've seen how important it is that we're spending time with our children, time with our family. We want to continue that. And can I tell you, God has made it clear. We have an opportunity to pour into our kids. We have an opportunity to spend time with our kids. And if we don't take that opportunity, it will have impact on them later. If we don't take the time to pour into them, if we don't take the time to speak into their lives spiritually, it will have an impact later. So you've had all these weeks and all this time. Do not stop doing some of the things that you've been doing during this lockdown. Keep them going when it comes to your kids. For us personally, and my daughter, Skylar, said this the other day to us. She said, I have just feel like we have grown so close during this time. And I love that because she's 20, she's an adult, and she can very much be doing her own thing, but she has spent a lot of time with us during these last couple months, and I feel the same way. I feel like we've grown in our relationship during this time, and I want that to keep going. I don't want that to stop just because she's going back to work and the church is getting busier. I don't want that to stop. I want to make sure we're still doing those things. Things that we've been doing with our kids, we've been doing movie nights. We've been watching movies and we've let them pick the movie and we're trying to get them to watch some of our 80s movies, but we haven't gotten there yet, but we'll keep trying. We've done meals together. Like, I don't know about you, I said this earlier, that it's sometimes we get so busy we don't even sit down together. More than ever, we've been able to sit down and have meals together and have some conversations and talk. And any of you that know Asher, you know that he is constantly hitting this up for money, and not even a lot of money. It's like, Dad, can I have money for 7-Eleven? This kid loves 7-Eleven. And we have done a bunch of walks in the evenings to 7-Eleven to get dessert and pretzels and chips and all kinds of things. But what's so awesome is we're not just going to 7-Eleven. As we're walking there, we're having some great conversations with our kids. I don't want that to end. I don't want that to end just because this is changing. This is something that I for sure want to take with us into life as we continue. I want to make sure my wife and my kids are a huge priority. And it's so important for us as believers that we are finding time, making time, no matter what age your son or daughter is, that you're making time to connect with them, to spend time with them, but especially to pour into them spiritually. That never stops. We did that with our kids when they were young, and we still do that today. Every Sunday, like today after service, one of the things that we've done, we've got up in the morning, we've made breakfast, and then we've sat down to watch service together on TV. And as soon as service ends, before Amy and I go live with all of you guys, we spend a moment just praying for our kids together while they're in the room with us, just praying over them, praying God's protection over them. I don't know how we'll do that once we start meeting again here on Sunday mornings, but I want to continue making that a tradition of not just praying. I pray for my kids all the time, but when they're physically with me and I can just pray this prayer that they hear over them, I want to make sure we continue to do that. It says this in Proverbs 22:6. It says, train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. Can I tell you, that's in Proverbs. And I need you to understand this because people use this verse a lot when they're talking about their kids that, man, if I just train my child up in a way they should go, if I train them up in Christianity, then they'll be a Christian. Well, it's not exactly true. We have to remember this. It's a proverb, not a promise. It's a proverb, not a promise. It's not a guarantee. In the end, every person will make their own decision if they're going to follow Christ or not. I know for me, I was raised in a Christian home. I have two great parents that loved me, that brought me to church every week, and definitely there was times in my life where they made me come to church. But I did, and I came to church, and I know that was their hope, that was their prayer, that if we train this child up, that he won't depart from it. And there was definitely moments where I had some struggles, and I had to really figure things out, but this was true for me. In the end, what my parents did and how they raised me had an impact on me. I can say that one of the reasons, not all of the reasons, but one of the reasons I'm a follower of Christ today is because of the example that my parents set, because of the way that my parents pushed me and brought me along and introduced me to what it was to have a relationship with Jesus. One of the reasons I'm here is because of that. And so while it's not a promise, it's something that we can begin to do right now. It's why it's so important that what we've done these last 10 weeks and spending time with our kids is why it's so important that continues, that does not stop. And not only playing ball with them and going on bike rides with them and watching movies with them, but can I tell you, spiritually leading your family, spiritually leading your kids is so important right now. It's so important, and it will have impact. And the hope and the prayer is that when they get older, they're going to discover their own relationship with God and continue that. And a lot of that will take place because of what you poured into them as children and how they saw you as mom and dad and your relationship with Jesus and how you interacted and the things that you said and how you lived your life. Your spiritual disciplines will have impact on your kids. I want to give you guys real quick before we finish up 3 keys to raising godly kids. If we're talking about families and wanting to continue doing this through this season, 3 keys to raising godly kids. The first one is this: train your child. It's in that scripture, train your child. What does that mean? There's lots of ways we can train our children. We can train them in how to do sports, in how to mow the lawn, in how to work on cars, in how to treat people, all of those things. But I'll tell you this, one of the main ways you can train your child is in your personal character. Your personal character. They watch you. They watch the decisions that you make. They watch the things that you say. They hear the things that you say about people, about your boss, about people at work, whatever it might be. Make the decision, I want to train my child to have good character, to have good character. I want to train my child in the ways of the Lord. I want them to learn through me what it is to have a prayer life, what it is to have a devotional life, what it is to surround myself with other believers. So much of that, all of that really falls upon us as parents. So we want to continue to train our children. The second one is this: love your child. Love your child. You hear people say this all the time. You hear people say, enjoy it while it lasts because it goes by quick. I remember when we had kids, people would say that, enjoy this while it lasts because it won't last forever. And especially in moments when you're in diapers and all of those things, you're like, I can't wait for this to get out of this season. Now I miss it. I miss having small kids. I miss having little kids. Our youngest is 15, and he's just a normal teenage kid doing lots of different things, and he still likes to spend time with us, but it's not the same as when they were little, when they really needed us. It goes by so fast. So love your kids. Spend quality time with them. Really put out time that's just their time. It's uninterrupted. You put your phone away. Schedule it if you have to, but make sure you have quality time with your kids, just loving on them. And can I tell you, in those times, make sure they have your full attention. While cell phones have been great and awesome, can I tell you, they distract from family so much. I see parents on playgrounds. I see parents at all different kinds of places, and their kids are there, and they're playing, and they're hanging out, and the parents literally doing this the whole time. Don't be distracted. Love your child. Make sure they have your full attention in those moments. Another way is to love them is to love them by showing them how to love others. I love that our kids see our relationship with other people. We have people over at the house. Normally when we're not in these circumstances, we would have people over all the time. And our kids have watched us through the years loving on teenagers, loving on college students, loving on families in our church. We've tried to set that example of what it is to love other people. And so another way to really love your child is to make sure you are just showing them what it is to be godly, but also what it is to genuinely love people. They will follow your lead. The third one is this: discipline your child. Discipline your child. This is an important one because working with teenagers as long as I have, I've met a lot of parents along the way who treat their kid more as their friend than as their child. And so when it comes to discipline especially, they don't have any, and they've kind of lost control. I can't tell you the number of kids that have come into, or another number of parents that have come into my office saying, I don't know what to do with my son. I don't know what to do with my daughter. They don't listen to me. They don't follow my rules. They don't do this. And if we look back and break it down, so many times it's because they've treated them like a friend, not a child. Kids need discipline. It doesn't matter how old they are, until they get to that 18, and sometimes even after 18, they need you to lead them. They need you to guide them. They need you to be an authority figure in their life. God gave them to you. He gave them to you. And so just like God is our authority, while we're raising these kids in a godly way, you have got to be a parent in their life. You've got to discipline. They've got to understand there's right and wrong. They've got to understand sometimes life's not fair and things happen. They've got to understand how to follow rules. And all of these things they're going to learn from you. You can discipline your child, but still love them through that. We've disciplined our kids. But our kids know this, that even when they get in trouble, even when they're disciplined, they have no doubt how much we love them still. And, sometimes, especially when they get to teenagers, there's times when I'm mad and I want to stay mad for at least an hour. I want him to suffer for a little bit. But at some point, I always go in and I always tell them, I just want you to know I love you. I love you. I forgive you and I love you, and because that's important. And so those are three key things to kind of raising a kid that I would encourage you as you continue through this season and come out of the season and really keep family a priority during this time. Train your child, love your child, discipline your child. And here's another big thing. We will be back together. I don't know the date. I don't know when that will happen. I believe with all my heart it's sooner than later. One of the reasons we met yesterday was to prepare the house to reopen, and I do believe we're going to open. This is not the new normal. But when we do, one of the joys of being part of a church is being part of a community, being part of a bigger family. And you'll hear people use this phrase sometimes when it comes to raising kids. It takes a village to raise a kid. I believe that with all my heart. And it's why it's been so important through the years for me and Amy to bring our kids to this church, to bring our kids to this house, so they'll let them get to know other people. There are lots of people in this church that love my kids and speak into their lives and have kind of an authority in their lives because of the relationship they've built with them. And I feel like I have that with some of your students and with some of you as well. It takes a village. I look back at my own life, and I didn't, I was raised in church, but there's definitely times when I kind of floundered and stumbled. But not only were my mom and dad raising me and pouring into me, there were other godly men that were pouring into my life. I look back, Ron Cook, who's still part of our church. Ron has always been an authority figure in my life. If Ron told me even now to go outside and wash his car, I would probably do it because it's Ron and I listen to what he says. Other men, John Trowbridge. Jeff Trowbridge was a friend of mine all through junior high and high school. John was his dad. I just loved his dad. His dad was just this cool guy, friendly guy, and just poured into us. I learned so much from watching John and Jeff interact with each other. And he definitely poured into my life. He's in heaven now and passed away years ago, but I will always remember John Trowbridge and the impact that he had in my life, even now. Gary Myers, again, I was friends with all of his sons, but especially his two oldest sons, Gary and Jeremy. I was really close with them growing up. We'd go over to their house for sleepovers, and we did Road Rangers together and spent a ton of time together. Gary Myers is someone who definitely poured into my life, who I watched, who had this authority in my life, who spoke into my life. And I look back at these things and think how important it is that we are part of a church community, that we're not raising our kids by ourselves. We have a whole village to help us to pour into what we're doing. So it's so important that we do whatever we need to do to come back together, to be together, to have a community together. And the third week in this series, we're talking about community in our neighborhood and some of those things. But I'm telling you, this or that. What are the things that God has done in your life in this season that you want to see continue as we come out of it? Hopefully there's a lot of things, and hopefully definitely one of those is family. And you're going to continue spending time with your kids. You're going to continue loving on your spouse and pouring into them and connecting with them and building them up. And both with your spouse and with your children, you're keeping God the center of everything. Love you guys.
Caught up in your presence, I just want to sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never want to leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessing. Jesus, you don't know me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. I'm sorry when I've just gone through the motions. I'm sorry when I just sang another song. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. I'm sorry when I've come with my agenda. I'm sorry when I forgot that you're enough. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. I'm caught up in your presence. I just wanna sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never wanna leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't know me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Oh, nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. No, nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Oh, nothing else will do. I'm caught up in your presence. I just wanna sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never wanna leave. No, I'm not here for blessings. Oh, Jesus, you don't know me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Only you. I just want
Maybe for some of you, this is your first time watching and being a part of one of our services. After hearing all of that, if you're this morning going in, I want to come through this different. I want to know what it is to have a relationship with Jesus. You have an opportunity right now. It's as simple as the beginning is just praying a prayer. That's what starts that relationship that's what starts having that moment with Christ. And so if you're watching this morning and you want to give your life to Jesus, I would encourage you, pray this prayer with me. Whether it's your first time asking him into your life or the 100th time, if you mean it from your heart and you're ready to make him Lord of your life and accept his grace and understand that he died on the cross for you, it's available right now. So I want to invite you to pray this prayer with me and just repeat the words after me. And if you're watching with a group of people and if you're walking with God and want to pray this prayer with me just to support those that are praying it for themselves, I would invite you to. But I'm asking you to bow your heads and close your eyes and pray with me right now. Dear Jesus, please come into my heart. Please come into my life. Forgive me of my sins. Forgive me of my mistakes. Be the Lord of my life. Surround me with others that will help me follow you. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, and that brings us to the closing of our service. It was a great one. At any point during the message or worship, you felt like saying yes to Jesus, we have a link down in our description. It's going to give you a bunch of resources on what to do next, if you have any questions, and get you into contact with one of us. So we would love to talk to you, meet with you, and walk you through that choice because it's an awesome one. Also, we're going to have some questions up on our Instagram and Facebook that are just going to allow you to kind of either reflect upon about the message or talk with the people that you're with, whether it be family, friends, whatever that may look like for you. So make sure to check that out. And then 15 minutes after this service ends, Gary and Amy are going to be going live. So be sure to check that out as well on our Facebook and our Instagram. But that's that. So we will see you guys in 15 minutes and next week. So have a happy Sunday. See you soon.